What's up guys, Spin Firearms here, and today's going to be a pretty simple video. And I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit why I believe, once again, why I believe you guys have been completely lied to about 9mm handguns. Now, is there anything wrong with carrying a 9mm handgun? Of course not. I carry Glock 26s as it's one of my top favorite guns ever made, and that probably will never change. On top of that, one of my favorite handguns, actually my second favorite handgun, the Springfield Armory Hellcat, is in 9mm. So I still carry 9mm, but it's for certain reasons. I know a lot of people have one gun, that's all they carry, that's the only thing they'll leave the house with, and so on. And I get that as well. And also, when it comes to beginners, there's that aspect as well, which we're going to touch on. Today we're going to talk about simply why you have been lied to about 9mm. Think about this question real quick before we get started. If you have to go into the woods, right, and you know there's larger game or, mountain lions, bobcats, heck, even a bear, and you're given the option between 380 and 9mm, what are you going to choose? You're going to pick the 9mm, right? It's common sense. And oh yeah, by the way, Trigger Shark makes barrels now, and they're absolutely sick. Code SPN for 15% off Trigger Shark barrels. That's a Glock 19 barrel and a Glock 26. Actually pretty sick. I don't know if I mentioned that, but yeah, Trigger Shark makes barrels now. But you're going to pick the 9mm. Next up, Glock 26 and 9mm or a Glock 27 and 40 Smith & Wesson, and you're going to the woods. What are you going to pick? It would only make sense to pick the more powerful option. There's a reason why when you're in bear country, you don't bring a 9mm. And that's because 10mm has what? More power. More what? Stopping power. I'm not talking about knockdown power. Knockdown power is a whole myth, especially when it comes to pistols. But I'm talking about the ability to stop your self-defense encounter. The ability to protect yourself as quick as possible. Now you're going to say, why not 10mm? Well, once you start getting in 10mm and 45 ACPs, which also have tremendous power, more than a 9mm. Here, let me start with this real quick. Your 9mm defensive ammo that you see at the gun store, right? Just a regular gun ammo. You got the Hornadies, the Gold Dots. While they're all proven to run reliably, they're proven rounds at this point, you're going to struggle to touch 400 foot-pounds of energy. Especially nowadays, when you read the box, they're typically speaking about 4-inch barrels and 4.5-inch barrels. So that number you see on there, that's hovering around 350, 375, potentially 400. But even to hit 400, you need specialty rounds. Once you get to that point, they're talking out of a longer barrel. So now you come around with your P365 or your Hellcat, and you're going to be sitting at 350, 325 even with some of these rounds. Now, once you start getting into more specialty rounds like 9mm double taps, 9mm Civil Liberty Defense rounds, now you're going to be more up there, right? But you're not going to find that at your local gun store. And when you ask the average person, what are you carrying? Typically, it's big box store ammo. It just is what it is. It's the most plentiful. It's the most available. You're brand new to firearms. What are you going to pick? You're going to pick the thing that is most available and is most known, especially with all the marketing. Most of this stuff is marketing. We're going to touch on the whole marketing aspect of things as well. Marketing is a big thing. And so when you see all these sponsored people and they're promoting Hornady and this, you're going to go to that ammo because you naturally trust that person. You naturally idolize that person. That's why I don't idolize anybody. There's literally no point in it. I idolize my dad, but that's for different reasons. That's because that man's a good man. But you're going to choose that 40 in the woods, right? You come into 45s, you start losing a lot of capacity. You start going to 10mm, you start losing a lot of capacity, or the gun becomes massive. It almost steps out of that boundary or that range of a concealed carry handgun. Now, I still carry 45s. This is 5+1. I love this gun. But once you start looking at a 40, check this out real quick. 9+1 of 40 versus 5+1 of 45 ACP. Heck, it's even shorter than the 45. Now check this out. Glock 26 in 9mm, Glock 27 and 40 Smith & Wesson. Same size, one less round. But you're getting 100 to 150 foot-pounds of energy more. I have some 40 Smith & Wesson defensive ammo that's hitting close to, it's like 588 foot-pounds of energy out of a 3.5-inch barrel. I'm not talking a 4-inch barrel. I'm not talking a 4.5-inch barrel. I'm talking a subcompact. And that's part of the reason why I love the Glock 27 so much. It's the mid-level for everything. It has mid-capacity, right? It's not a single stack 5, 6, 7+1. It's not a full-size 15, 17+1. No, you're sitting at 9+1, but you also have the potential to throw an 11-round mag in there. Or sorry, a 10-round mag. Or throw in a Henning Group base plate, make it 11+1. Or a 13+1 setup using a Glock 23 mag. Or a 15+1 using a Glock 22 mag. Or heck, screw it. Throw in the 22-round OEM 40 Smith & Wesson mag if you really want to. This gun can take it all. But on top of that, a big part in all of this is going to be your barrel length. This has a 1/2 inch on a P365. This has a 1/2 inch on a Hellcat. This has 0.4 inches on a Shield. And that does matter when in terms of overall ballistics. It does when you're talking about foot-pound energy. Now, some people say foot-pound energy is a myth. I say that's bullcrap. The more power, the more chance of stopping somebody. And everyone goes, oh, 9mm defensive rounds. They have all this new technology. 9mm technology is up the game. This is that same technology used, but it's being used in a 40 Smith & Wesson. Think about it. What is a 40 Smith & Wesson? It's thicker casing than a 9mm, allowing it to hold more, powder, right? Let me show you real quick. It's going to be a thicker round than a 9mm. But look at the overall bullet weight. This right here is 125 grain. Out of a 4-inch barrel, this thing's going 1,400 feet per second. Out of my Glock 27, it's about to get 1,300 feet per second. And a lot of times with this double tap ammo, they put it on the low end, right? So let's say it says 1,400 out of a 4-inch barrel. You'll probably get 1,425. You'll probably get 1,450 because they don't want it to ever end up being less than what they advertise. So this is a 40. You have all this powder compared to a slimmed down 9mm, right? Plus, you get the same weight projectile, so this thing is zipping. So it has all the extra powder, power, whatever you want to call it, with the same weight projectile and a larger projectile. So you're going to make a larger wound. You're going to make a larger wound cavity. So far, everything I've said about 40 is better, it's bigger, it's stronger, it's more powerful, period. And if you're telling me that doesn't matter, then don't carry your 10mm in the woods. Don't carry your 357 Magnums in the woods. And another thing about 40 that makes it so much better than 9mm. I can turn it into 357 SIG. With a conversion barrel, you have to have a larger barrel slot. With a 9mm, you have a smaller barrel slot. So I can never convert this up into power and a larger round, but I can always convert downward to 357 SIG. I can convert downward to 9mm. So this has the option to run 3 different calibers where your 9mm is always going to be stuck a 9mm. Now here's another big part. 9mm makes you look good at the range without having to try, right? Your full size makes you look good at the range without having to try. Full sizes and compacts, actually nowadays I shoot my smaller guns better, but that's because that's basically all I shoot is small guns. Yeah, I'll take the Glock 21 to the range. Yeah, I'll take the Glock 23 every now to the range. But what I'm really good at shooting is smaller handguns. It's all about what you practice with. So think about it. You're new to firearms. You pick up your 9mm. Why? Because 95% of handguns that are produced today are in 9mm. So you don't really have an option unless you're buying on the used market. On top of that, you shoot your buddy's 40 for the first time. You're going to be like, holy crap, that's snappy. Then he gives you his 9. He's like, and then you fall in love with the 9 because what? You shoot it better. So when you shoot it better, you start to fall in love with it. But here's the thing. I can shoot my Glock 27 just as good as my Glock 26. And all it took was practice. All it took was range time. All it took was me sitting at home and practicing dry firing with the trigger. That's all it takes. Me learning how to handle recoil. Me making sure my arms are nice and strong in order to get a good hold on my pistol. That's all it is. And when people talk about capacity, you're losing 1 round from here to here. From a Glock 19 to a Glock 23 and 40, you're losing 2 rounds. From a Glock, 17 to a Glock 22 and 40, you're losing 2 rounds. Now tell me, your Glock 17 with 17 rounds, you think you're going to drop 17 plus 1 in a self-defense encounter? You think 15 plus 1 is not viable? 13 plus 1 is not viable at 40? Especially with the potential ability to stop someone in a quicker amount of time with a 40? I have no problem with 9mm. Like I said, it's a great place to start. It's a great way to go. But once you get better with a 9 and you go to a 40 and then you come back to your 9, it feels so ridiculous. 9mm just feels so ridiculous. And honestly, I'm sort of getting bored of 9mm. It just is what it is. I just like the power. And you feel it in the gun. There's no way. It's science. You feel that power, you're getting power. Sorry. A bigger bullet hole. A larger entry wound. what do you call it? A larger wound channel. It just is what it is. It's a larger bullet. At the end of the day, all these guns are being marketed in 9mm. Why? Oh, the new X Macro came out. It's ported. First of all, porting makes you lose foot-pound energy. Porting makes you lose velocity. Porting makes you lose power. So they're giving you something that loses power because of the porting in 9mm, so it's soft shooting, and now you feel great because you can hit stuff with it. But they're not telling you the fact that you are not carrying a stronger handgun. And here's the thing, it is not that difficult to shoot 40. It's the same. My trigger pull, if I have two Glock 26 and a Glock 27 both stock, it is the same trigger pull. Recoil is different, but it's the same trigger pull. That's all that matters while shooting. Your trigger pull is going to be the same on, consecutive Glocks. Therefore, you're going to hit the same. Now, if you're ducking and dipping because of trying to fight recoil, that changes your shot. But your overall trigger pull on the gun should not change from gun to gun. You should be completely steady, and boom, for a nice, clean, on-target shot. So, the only difference then is recoil. But once again, you have the ability to stop a threat sooner. What do you want? A prolonged gunfight? Or the potential to end a self-defense situation sooner and get you, your wife, and the kids the heck out of there? Let me know in the comments if I'm just crazy, or if this is just, think about years ago, 10, 20, 30 years ago. What were people carrying? What was law enforcement carrying? Why did they switch? They switched because people, I hate to say it, nowadays are just becoming weaker. It just is what it is. They can't handle power. Look at the world around you for a second. Then look at your dad's generation. Tell me what generation seemed tougher, stronger, more durable. It is what it is. Nothing against 9. I carry 9 all the time. This is one of my favorite guns right here. XDS and 9mm. It's so flat, it's so easy to shoot. And that's a big reason. I get if you have bad wrists, I get all that. But if you're a perfectly healthy human being, and there's no reason not to carry a 40. It's really not that bad. 45 is really not that bad. 357 SIG is really not that bad. You can get good at anything as long as you put time and effort into it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching.